Hello, everyone. Good day. Irini streaming from Oslo again. It's 20 of April already, and it seems that the influence of the new moon in Aries and all the constellations of Aries sign positions of planets and conjunctions or whatever they continue. It's been an interesting new moon moment for me. I'm in a full reset with my health and my life in general. And I'm still welcoming spring that is still shy. That's why I chose as an image for the background the Songsvan Lake near Oslo, half frozen, half liquid, because it's how it looked like several weeks ago when I was there. Now maybe it's a little bit better, but still spring is still shy here. And today I want to speak about what life and healing means. It's might be a kind of weird topic to approach for a video, but all the last weeks I've went through a series of small awakening and activation moments, one after another, while I also was challenged to solve a health issue. And I think they came at the right time for where I am now, because I also realized how each of the happenings or events or messages I got um, contributed to for a new state of me, for a new understanding of what is life. And on Friday, I was in a red tent gathering online. A red tent is a meeting of women who share similar beliefs and practices on this womb exploration path. It's actually a revival of a very ancient tradition where women were gathering in real physical red tents. Nowadays it's mostly virtual spaces, but sometimes it can also be in a physical space where we just sit, meditate, connect with our wombs, share our thoughts and our issues or challenges, and support each other. And this red tent has been guided by one of the participants, one of the guests I had at the Tales from the Womb Festival in March, Mika and Twenties. It was for free, and we were 7 and then 8, magical numbers. And she guided a very beautiful meditation for connecting with the womb and to rebirth ourselves in this moment of spring where we need this. We need to feel fresh, alive again. And I was finding myself in a very vulnerable place. That session has been very emotional, and the whole week actually has been emotional for me and deep. And I had to surrender to this vulnerable state, which is not what I usually do or not so easily do. And what came for me, it also surprised me that in the rebirth process, at the end of the meditation, the only wish and state I had was to be born, feel alive, and to be happy. And it somehow surprised me how simple and so immediate and important felt to just be alive, to feel that I'm born again and happy. Because maybe for too long I was processing so many heavy stuff. I challenged myself for many years to do so much healing work and very deep and constant work that I somehow lost the meaning of what is to be alive and happy. Simple things in life. And I think many of you can relate with this because many of us in general tend to think and to expect life to give us many wishes granted, and then we will be happy. And then we go to the next, and to the next wish, and to the next project, and to the next relationship, and to the next home, or whatsoever we want in life. And we chase this dream of being happy one day, and we forgot to be happy and alive in the moment, to cherish that moment that we feel alive and we are new. To a certain extent, our cells, our body renews every 7 years, I think, or something. But also every morning when we wake up, when we open our eyes, there is a new day, so we are fresh. We are in a new state again. We are reborn. And life should be so simple. Just feeling and tuning in and enjoying, and really enjoy every aspect, every small bit of it, into complete surrender to what comes and to happiness, to the blossom of a flower, or to just looking the sky in a clear day and enjoying the rays of sun on our skin, or touching the surface of the water and feeling the chill sensation of our skin, and so on. And that is life. That is being present with life, that we often forget to be present, to feel life, not only to think, but to visualize, to dream about life, but to feel it. And when I think about feeling and being in a state where we feel the body, we feel what is inside, we can scan our own state and understand it, and just accept it's possible to be. I also think about healing, what healing means for us, and why it's so difficult to heal sometimes. And I've been reflecting on healing because of my own healing journey with this health challenge I had, but also because I see many people around and many programs, many offerings, many workshops who speak about healing. And I think this word, healing, the word itself, has been so much used and misused in this latest year. Or, yeah, I don't know for how long, but everyone understands what wants about healing. Everything can be about healing. Every experience in life can have a healing effect if we want to see it from this perspective. But what kind of healing is the real healing? That is the question. Because in my opinion, real healing is something that you experience when you already are in this new paradigm or consciousness or awareness of being fully alive. If there are still parts of you that you feel are like dormant, numb, or half dead, that is not healed. That is something that needs more healing, right? And in my interventions and also my workshops, I often use this word, but because I really believe it is part of this journey of life, and because I know how difficult it is to achieve the state where you feel healing, like it happened and I'm there. and now I'm alive and I have a different perception of myself, and I'm just here and happy and aware and whole. And inevitably, I have to speak about healing when I speak about trauma. Because trauma and healing, again, are those two words that are often in the mouth of many people and on many walls on social media and in many videos and documentaries. And still, I believe they are so misunderstood and even abused because they are used too much, even in context where the offering might not actually be for healing or trauma work or whatever. And what it is true and people should know about is that as long as you live your life in split, and I'm referring to a trauma split because it's a complex split where it's not only the body, but it's also the emotional and mental and psychological split that acts in the body through different mechanisms. When you are in split, you very often can go into the illusion of healing. And for some reason now comes to me a discussion I had in the past with a client. She came once for a womb healing and she was extremely disconnected from the body, that when I tried to guide her into a journey inside her womb, I was not able to support her because she was very scared, very much in fear, and like the body itself would prevent that journey to go deeper. So we had to keep on the surface, and I just guided the visualization, and she to a certain extent visualized colors and movements. That was already something for that healing session. And in discussing with her about her own experiences, and also I was recommending to do more therapy work, she was claiming that she did a lot of healing because she went in so many retreats and workshops where she cried and had a lot of body movements and releases and difficult processing with crying and shouting and screaming and, you know, all those things that happen a lot in retreats and group workshops. And she felt that that was a very deep work and that she could recover something from that work that she would claim as healing. But then when I guided her in the journey and I saw her level of disconnection, I understood that she was still living in a loop, and probably it was her own survival strategy to live in that loop where she was eluding herself to have been healed from many difficult traumas from the past, while those traumas were still kept stored in the body. And she probably had access to a certain degree of healing, but not the fully real deep, more permanent healing that I will consider as being real healing. And there were also other situations I had with clients when I could understand the level of disconnect from the body and feel also there was a resistance inside their own body towards accessing deeper levels. And for some reason, with many of these people, I chose to not push the healing process because I knew they were not ready for going deeper. Because that is what, as a therapist, but also as myself as a client, and knowing now my body because I really worked a lot with it in many different ways, what becomes clear at a certain stage when you acquire the experience is that real healing cannot be pushed and cannot be forced. Because if we do it, we become abusers, and we also become we bring the person at the risk of re-traumatization, and that means a boundary violation. And then the person, instead of getting real healing and feeling more alive, can shut down again, can go in all these coping mechanisms where there are all sorts of illusions, but nothing feels real, and the disconnect continues. And there were other times also discussions with other people about grounding and how this can be achieved and what it means. And I always claimed, and I still claim, based on this experience I had, that real grounding cannot be achieved just through walking barefoot on the grass in summer or spring, or going and taking a bath, or doing breath work or whatever. Yes, these techniques can help to a certain extent in many ways. But to really be grounded and connected with the body, it also means that we gain that new perspective of how it is to be connected. How does it feel? If we really feel life going through us and moving us as living beings, or there are still parts that are shut down and numb, or in fight and flight mode. Because it is really easy to flip the story and to think you are connected, but in reality you are not. And grounding for me, what became obvious all these years, after processing a lot of disconnection, because I have this pattern in me of the associating, because I get into different experience from early age where my body was disconnected for several reasons, either surgery or anesthesia or traumatic experience that where I shut down. So having this experience and then having the other experience of staying connected and understanding how difficult it is to transit from one to another, and how difficult it is to stay in one situation that is healthier or in one state, then I acquired this understanding that real healing and real grounding means that you know the difference between being disconnecting and being alive and present and connected. And then not only you know the difference, but you are able, through your own body wisdom and your own practice, to stay in connection even when the urge to disconnect is big. Because that can be challenging for many. And again, I return to the image behind me. It's like you would be this tree that wants to blossom, to bring to life the first buds, but you are with the roots inside the water, and half of the roots are frozen and keep you stuck and frozen and numb, while half of the roots are in the water that are alive and running and receiving nutrients and so on. So how would you feel to be this tree and to know that, yes, when time comes, then the water defroses and I can be fully alive again. But for now, I'm half and half. And many people live like this, in between states, or half alive, half dead or numb, because the body got used to that state and they were not able to gather the skills and the body mechanisms to access them, so they can enter into complete state of aliveness and healing. And of course, to achieve this, you need practice. It's nothing that you get with one experience. It's nothing that you get in one retreat, no matter how skilled the facilitators. It's nothing that you get in a group workshop. It's something that you get with consistent work of continuous therapy through processes that gives you this gradual understanding and connection. And then at a certain point, you start to learn how to keep it. And you learn how to navigate your own mechanisms. Because if you store that mechanism of trauma for a very long time, since you were a child, or even if they happen, for example, in the womb of the mother, in embryo stage or later on in gestation period, those mechanisms get so ingrained, so so embedded in your body, in all the dimensions of the body, that it's very difficult to train the body to get out. And most of the times, longer it takes to get out, more difficult it becomes to recognize those different states and then learn how to build up resilience and a sustainable state that is feeling alive, feeling healthy, feeling happy ultimately. So you might be one of those who takes healing seriously, and you want to reflect on my words and on the importance of working when you do therapy, also accessing the body, not only the psyche or the emotional field, because everything can be trapped in the body and everything can be expressed through the body. And most of the triggers, they act inside the body and from outside inside also. And it's true that you have a lot of resources for self-healing, but to recognize them and to know how to use them, you also need support most of the times. Reflect on my words and see what life and healing is all about for you, where you find yourself, if you are still in doubt or fear, in frozen mode, or you are half and half, and you want more of the aliveness and happiness. I have tools, skills, and experience to support you on this journey. If you want to connect, just let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope spring will come inside your body soon. For me, it already started, but I'm taking slowly this time because I'm just a newborn now and I want to enjoy every bit of life. With every breath in and then out. And it's good to be alive and happy. Thank you. Enjoy the day ahead or the week ahead. And see you next. And don't forget to subscribe. It will help to have at least another subscriber to get 100. It's a milestone for me. See you.